guys, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. Hi guys, this is Good Morning 3. Alexa, what's the time please?
It's 10:59 a.m.
I can hear Christmas carols coming from next door. I can hear their Christmas carols playing. It's very nice and soothing. I could hear Christmas carols. That's really nice. Sitting with a cup of coffee and eating your mince pie, sat with your back next to the wall, listening to Christmas carols. Enjoyed it. So guys, I answered my mother's phone call this morning, something I don't normally do because I usually get upset. And yes, I've got upset. So I picks up the phone and my mum says, I really do miss you, Ginestra. I really think about you a lot and I care about you. And the other day she went to me, I love you over the phone. So my mum Jennifer answers the phone and she says, oh, it's nice that you've picked up the phone. She said, how are you and your dog? And she knows that my dog is called Max. He's been up to Durrell Gardens enough and sat on my mum's lap. And she's fed him Garibaldi biscuits. She tried to feed my dog Garibaldi biscuits once. Garibaldi. So she knows that upsets me. She knows it does. I've told her, I said the dog's name is Max. How is your dog? It sounds like she's saying, you're a dog over the phone, doesn't it? Which isn't very nice at all. Not from someone's mum. So, put the phone down. She said she's going to continue to call me all through the day. Probably saying the same thing, how are you and your dog? Because I've been very well behaved. I've been happy. And maybe she's a bit jealous I had coffee with my son in Costa's yesterday. Maybe she is. So I walked out feeling a bit upset. Okay. I've got a box with the word troll staring at me. Next door's got toys in a box. And I've got the word troll staring at me. Now, come on guys, let's be serious. When someone thinks of a troll, what is a troll? It's a big, ugly monster with a bald head and rotten teeth, isn't it? Isn't it? And I've got that staring at me as me, Crystal, is going out the door. Right? And you telling me that it's in my head and I'm not being bullied. You telling me that because I don't believe it. So I walks out the building, it's cold, it's frosty, and well, she's blonde next door. She's a blonde woman. So I walked outside feeling shitty, and I don't want to feel shitty. It's nearly Christmas. I'm happy. I've got a fridge full of food. I'm going to cook my dinner later on. I'm quite happy. I don't go up to my mum's on a Sunday. She said, are you coming to see me Wednesday? No, my son comes down on a Wednesday. I'm going to see my son Wednesday. So it sounds like there's a bit of jealousy going on here between my mum and my son. Not my son's involved with it. Maybe she's jealous I'm going to meet my son. Because, you know, what was all that about? So I walks around the field. There's people everywhere. They've got their lovely warm hats on, their coats, and they're talking to each other. Another thing my mum said over the phone, nobody wants us. Nobody wants us. So all negative, all miserable, all nasty things to say. Maybe nobody wants us. And I said to my mum, maybe nobody wants you. That's the way you feel. But I've got my son, you know, my son takes me out for a coffee. My son comes down and sees if I'm okay. So, two things she said over the phone that upset me. How's your dog? And maybe nobody wants us. So that's negative. That makes someone feel miserable, doesn't it? she's got Sue. I don't know what she's talking about. Sue, her next door neighbour, goes in there and talks to my mum every day. Okay? I'm on my own with Max and I'm happy because he's a lovely dog. I don't need other people to speak to. Okay? I don't need that. I'm content and happy within myself. But I don't need somebody trying to upset me to make me into a monster when I'm not. I'm a genuinely nice, happy person when someone isn't putting me down and upsetting me and saying nasty things. So I walked around the riverside a bit deflated, a bit upset. But I didn't get into any trouble. It's cold, it's freezing cold, and I wanted Max to go to the toilet. And I noticed his car was parked around the back, right round the back near the riverside. And of course my mum had upset me, and I don't take revenge on people. I don't break cars up. I don't do horrible things. So I walked past his car completely normally in my boots as I'm dressed now, a woman of 54. Looked up, there was an elderly lady on the balcony above the co-op, elderly with hair like mine, and a bright yellow jumper, and I had a yellow coat on this morning. Continued to walk on the field. The guy with the pug dogs was on the field, and he talked to a young lady with a black pug dog. So he was talking to people, there was people talking to each other, and then when I walk past people, they verve out the way, don't they? They get out the way. So nobody spoke to me, which I don't mind. I'd had a message this morning, keep your pussy warm. Keep your pussy warm. And my mum always says have a good day, and I've got 2 cats in there and they are nice and warm. I'm keeping my cats warm. Came back from the field and I saw a dog sat outside Costa Coffee on a chair. A dog with the ball and stick on the table. Is that not germs and unhygienic? Sitting your dog on a chair and leaving its ball and stick on a table where someone eats and drinks. And then the police drew up in a riot van. The police, and out come as a police community support officer and walks into the co-op. And my son doesn't live with me. My son doesn't. He's gone back to London. I'm in this flat, a middle-aged woman of 54, by myself. So the police riot van was ready. The police riot van. It's a complete joke, isn't it? Well, setting police on a middle-aged lady. So I'm in my flat. I'm going to calm down, make a cup of coffee, have a mince pie. Those games and those plastic toys are outside her door, which they've been for 2 days now. I'm not a thief. I have a heart. I get upset. Someone breaks my heart and upsets me. I get upset just like everybody else. Someone throws abuse and nasty words at me,